Hello, and welcome back to the Untamed Leader podcast. My guest today is Camille Miller. She is the founder and visionary behind the Soul Professional movement. She's also a 3-time Amazon bestselling author, and her work explores the intersection of purpose, business, and leadership. Now that I've whet your appetite with that, we're going to save the rest of her story for the episode to reveal. Welcome, Camille.
Oh, thank you, Lori, for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I love to start at the very beginning.
Okay.
So my first question is, where did your leadership journey first begin?
Well, my background is all in not-for-profit management. So I think that's why I've always done mission-driven work, always. I mean, since I came out of college with a psychology degree, and I was volunteering my time. And someone said, you can get paid to work for a nonprofit. And that actually became my career when I was 22. So I was like, you're kidding me. I can get paid to help people. And so that was really what I've done pretty much my whole life. I had a little real estate stint there for a while. But it's been all around mission-driven work. And I think that really defined my leadership style, because it was always in a way to help and serve others and to let other people rise. So in the nonprofit world, you're actually in the back, and you lead from behind because you want your staff and your board and your volunteers and all of the other people giving their time and talent to be in front of you. Right. So that has become my leadership style.
I love it. How were you different as a leader at 22 than you are now?
I have no ego now. And not that I had a big ego, but I think as you get older, you get a lot wiser. So I think I'm the same leader in a number of ways. Like I've always really cherished everyone. I've always been very collaborative in everything. I'm not like a decision maker without a group. I still work in that group environment today. But my ego's not there, right? It's, if someone else doesn't excel, it's no longer my fault. Right. If I'm the best person I can be in that moment and I'm doing all the right things, the outcome isn't on me all the time.
Yeah. How was your ego? Because some people might hear the word ego and think of like puffed up, that kind of I'm all the shit kind of ego. And it's more complex than that. Like sometimes our ego is beating ourselves up.
Yeah.
How did your ego used to show up back at 22?
Yeah. So I was always bold. I was very competitive, but more with myself than others. So I had all of that. I was always extremely driven, but I know and understand now that some of that was a trauma response of being hyper independent. Right. And to be able to be a leader, you can't be hyper independent. It has to be about everybody. So I don't think I was ever that leader that anyone was afraid of, or, I didn't really make bad decisions from an ego place. I was never that person. But like I said earlier, I think maturity, right? Now I'm 58. So my maturity level has changed. And I understand that, my expectations sometimes have to be managed better.
Including, it sounds like when you were hyper driven, you were probably hardest on yourself.
Yes.
And your expectations of yourself were higher than anyone else.
Absolutely.
You probably worked more hours than everyone else.
I worked, and I also loved it though. Right. But I had to also take a break. And I don't think I work and work. And I do that today too. I work and I work and I work and I work. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm in my passion. I'm loving it. and forgetting sometimes to fill my own cup or step away. So yeah, I still have that hyper focus driven, I'm different, but I don't know how to, like, I'm the same, but I'm different. I'm more mature. And I know that I don't have all of the answers. And sometimes I do need to listen to others and let things go as they may, right? I can't control things. So I think that's the biggest difference. I don't try to control all the outcomes. Now I don't try to control any. I'm just like, whatever happens, we'll see. The universe is making it happen. So
yeah, which is, it's called Untamed Leader, and the ego leading or having a greater percentage in the leadership is more tamed.
Yes.
Because the world tells us that you got to have all the answers and your 97-step plan and all of that kind of stuff. And the you now, who still has vision, still has passion. Some of the things are the same, but more mature, sounds like untamed leader. What does the word untamed spark in you?
Not structured is what I'm thinking, right? Just allowing things to be and hold the vision. So I've learned that I'm a visionary. My job is to hold the vision so others can get into it. Right. And to hold that vision for others, because that is really hard. Not everyone's a visionary. Right. But holding that vision so everyone's buying into it is a job in itself. And I don't have to do all of the things.
Yeah. And you're so vibrant and alive and lit up as you talk about that part of it. It's Untamed is also really radiant. Yeah. How did you find your way there? Like, there may have been moments of stumbling where you learned to let go and be the visionary and trust that you are now.
Yeah. Like you said, I stumbled my way there. I think everyone does, right? It's one lesson after the other, after the next, after the next. And it's also growing of where I was in my life. So when I was in a long-term marriage where I literally had to control everything before it imploded, right? And I had 3 kids and I worked full time and I was building a business and I did all of the things, right? And I was such in that ego and control space. And when I started to divorce, actually just filing for divorce was helpful. And move in, I learned that sometimes I'm reacting. That was probably my biggest thing. I'm reacting from a response of something that was coming from my ego. And that wasn't always the best way to do it. So I kind of learned that through the divorce process is not every action deserves a response. Right? Sometimes the best thing to do is not respond.
Yeah.
Right. And that kind of folded into other areas of my life with, building the company and even the kids. And, all of that was, I don't have to respond to everyone else's response.
Yeah.
Right? That's not on me. That's on them. And I've learned through that experience, and I've been divorced for almost 10 years now, and even the years after, which were very difficult, of not having to react. And sometimes things just work themselves out or allow things to just be. And yeah.
It feels like the divorce and the period after the divorce was a significant period of building the untamed muscles.
Absolutely.
Like, we have habits and tendencies that we needed or they wouldn't have been created.
Yes, absolutely.
They helped us in some way.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes it's like, well, our muscle only knows how to lift the weight a certain way, and that's actually going to hurt our metaphorical lower back.
Yeah.
And you went through a period of cultivating different responses, including the phrase in my head as you're talking the whole time is not taking the bait.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's,
Not
someone is
reacting.
doing,
Yeah.
someone is doing their habit
Yes.
that's going to create a set of outcomes that is not the ones you want, and you choosing silence and no response.
Yeah. Right.
As your response.
Yeah. And of course it came with a lot of inner work that,
mm-hmm.
Which I feel like I'm still doing to this day. Like it never ends. Right. But all of that became a part of it. It's like when someone writes a nasty email, immediately writing something nasty back. But now this time you pause and you don't send it till tomorrow and you reread it and maybe you rewrite it. And maybe you're like, okay, do I still feel like you're not in that hot moment?
Yeah.
Right. And going through the divorce, I was in a lot of anger and it was control and it was all of that. Right. So coming to this other side of it was like, oh, well, now I can recognize that that's a trigger for me. And for years afterwards, even getting an email from the guy would trigger me. And I had to learn that, okay, that's a trigger. I don't have to respond. Right.
Yeah.
And he no longer has control. Right.
Yeah. You took
I took the
power
control
and
back.
the responsibility back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're in it, it's never any fun. And the feeling that I'm getting from you and that I've noticed a couple times is in the trigger. I don't know about you, but I often feel very hot, like I've been set on fire by like energetically set on fire.
Yeah.
To be clear, from something that someone else has sent my way, said to me. And the best thing that I can do is to just let it go.
Yeah.
And in that, it's like things bubbling and burning away so that what's left is a more true, closer to soul, higher self, wiser self version of us. Yeah. When we don't do the old thing, because the old thing is like, it like extinguishes the match or it does something else with it that isn't just letting it go.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And that takes maturity, time, inner work, right? So that's all a part of it. So I feel like for all of us, really, our personal life is dovetailed with our professional life because we're one person. Right. So those lessons, as I've learned them in my personal life, obviously came out in my professional life. So I have that same quiet response now of just allowing things to be. And it's not really my responsibility. We'll see what happens. Or, or I have this really strong, like, everything happens for a reason. Let's hang out and see what that reason is, right? I'm here for a reason. What is that reason?
Yeah. Sometimes I have that. And sometimes I wish I could like plug into your patience because I'll know it, but I get impatient. Like I want to see what the reason is now.
Yeah. Well, things don't always work out in the 3D timeline that we need. Right. And I say a lot of my work, because it's on the edge of that spiritual realm, does not always have a 3D response like money in the bank account. And sometimes it's building the space before we see that result. And that is hard. That is hard.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, that I still have a business to run. And a lot of us that bridge this gap, right, between the logical and the spiritual, like I do, it's tough. And I think right now, as we go into 2026, even 2025 was a difficult year, but 2026 is more about the frequency of each other and building up communities again. And it's going to be a different response, I think, that we're needing from everything. Right. So we are all growing.
How have you, for yourself and people that you work with, navigated that gap between seeing things like money in the bank account in the 3D and being the visionary How do you balance those things for yourself and help other leaders, soul professionals, mission driven people to do that?
Yeah. So the first thing is taking that step back to realize it's not always immediate. Nothing in building a business is, but I think when you're building around intention, it's even harder, right? Because you're really setting up a new culture and
Mm-hmm.
other people have to buy into it. Now, I've been doing this for 10 years, but I feel like we constantly reinvent too, right?
I know I
Where,
do.
yeah. And I was very, very heavy in strategy, and that's my background. And I love business and I love strategy and I love the numbers and I, love the programs. But I feel like the world has changed now,
Mm.
right? And we have to actually embody it in our bodies. We have to feel it. It's very, very different of where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally forgot what the question was that I was answering.
How have you bridged the gap
I think,
between like the vision
yes.
and then the tangible reality in front of you? And you sparked, my inner teenager in particular is like
Mm-hmm.
the impatient part of me where it
Yeah.
just doesn't understand if it knows what could be. And I've taken
Yeah.
a step. Why isn't it here yet?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we all feel that, but you were asking about like when clients or people that I'm working with, it's really
Yeah.
doing the inner work that
Mm-hmm.
produces the outer success.
Mm.
And still holding that vision of what is possible, because when you target your brain on it, your brain is wired for safety, right? And when we
Mm-hmm.
tell our brain what we want and we're constantly saying it's coming, right? Well, if we say it's coming, it's pushing it down the thing, but it's here, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
what I'm creating. I'm creating it now.
Mm-hmm.
And your brain actually starts to rewire, and all of a sudden the sales start to come in and the right people start to magnetize. But it's a way different way of learning how to do things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And our default is to go back. Well, if I work a little harder, I put out some more posts, I do some more marketing, I talk to more people, and I am still very guilty of that. Very
Mm-hmm.
guilty of that. As we speak right now, I'm at my parents' summer home that I grew up in. We've had it in the family for 42 years. And I brought all my work with me and I'm working here, but I'm at a slower pace because this is where I relax. It's actually where I wrote my books, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, I'm still doing my work, but I actually think differently down here than when I'm
Yeah.
sitting in my office because all of these things are coming at me.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
just taking the time now, like, this is really interesting. Like new things are coming and my body feels different down here. And I feel
Yeah.
very safe and very abundant, not really worried about the money. And I can
Mm-hmm.
hold the bigger vision than I can when I'm paying my bills sitting at my desk at home. Right. We still have our bills
Mm-hmm.
to pay.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're reminding me decades ago when I was an executive assistant, I planned a president's club in Hawaii. So we were working
Uh-huh.
from Hawaii.
Mm.
And I was like, it's amazing how slow we're moving
Yeah.
and how we're still getting everything. It's like we're getting more done
Yes.
at a slower pace. Like whatever that movie is, The Highlander or something like that, where someone is chasing and the person chasing is like moving, like they're
Slow
moving through molasses and the other people are running and the slow chasing just keeps, it felt like that, where it was like everything is really clear. I get it all done. The phrase "don't sweat the small stuff" had probably just come around.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, it's amazing how much faster everything goes when you're moving slower, when you're not sweating all the small stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that
How do you take that back home with you?
I don't know yet. But actually, I thought about it this morning because every day I say I'm going to go back home. And I just like called my sister because we're moving all the furniture out on Saturday. We sold the place, so we're moving it all out on Saturday. And I was like, I think I might stay. Like, cause I'm like, why am I rushing home? Because I feel like I need to be there. There's nothing more there. Right. And I was like, how do I bring this back home? And I'm like, maybe it's doing stuff that's not in my office. Like, even if I sat at the dining room table just to do something else, or here at, it's also warmer here. I'm getting up every morning, like early, very early. I'm getting up. I'm going to I'm taking walks at the beach. I work most of the day. Today I did take a break and took another walk. And then at night before the sun sets, I go take a bike ride and I can watch the sunset. And then I come home, right? And I go to bed early. I could actually do that exact same thing at home. Right. So actually, while I was here, because I'm doing bike rides here, I was like, I should get a bike rack for my car because I could go to the trail and bike ride. Right here, I do it on the road, but at home, it's not as safe on the road. So I bought a bike rack. So when I get home, I have other bikes there. I just have to do it. I think when you're like, I'm in vacation mode, even though I'm working, but but also when I give myself that space of being on a bike or taking a walk, I think about work, but it's more like it's flowing like, oh, wait, I know how to take care of that now. Or let me make sure I make this conversation or this email or whatever it is. Right. And making space.
Yeah, so different from the mind trying to solve the problems, or even the mind. Sometimes there's an edge of like, well, the mind is trying to solve the problem and it's doing it kind of from a scanning for danger place.
Yeah.
And what you're describing is like there's space, so creativity flows in.
Yeah. Or it's like when I drive, I get a lot of answers. When I go to the gym, I get a lot of answers, right? Hiking, like when I'm not in the doing is when all the answers come. And that's actually still productive time. But I think myself, as well with a lot of other ones, we forget that, right? And we don't fill our own cup up by doing these other things. But when we do, we're kind of solving other problems.
Yeah.
Right? The answers come to us.
I'm curious, you were a leader from behind at 22, and now you're a visionary, which as you're talking, I feel like you're doing both leader from the front, where you're the face of the vision, and you don't do everything yourself. So step back and let some other people do it.
Yeah.
Does that ring true? And what other kinds of leaders have you noticed?
So to answer the first part of the question, I am kind of that dual leader now, and I have had competing energies around that. And so I'm going into like another point of reinvention now and really leading, because I stopped for a moment and said, if this was someone else's company, would I be leading it the same way? Right? If someone else hired me to be the CEO, I would run it differently. So I had to kind of go back and be like, okay, so that's the kind of company I should be running right now, and to hold the vision. It was never my intent to actually be the face of a company. And I've spent years trying not to be the face of the company. And in 2023, I decided to start to brand my name and like almost co-brand it with the company. And what I learned were people were so magnetized by my personal energy just showing up in the world that that became a part of the whole strategy. And you know, we've grown enormously. At this point, we're in 6 continents, 48 countries, have had people in our programs. And that's with no advertising. That's word of mouth. Right. And that's me being on podcasts and writing books and speaking on stages. But a very different way. And I had to learn that it's not that I have to do everything. right?
Mm-hmm.
It was never set up for it to be a funnel to my own coaching or anything like that. It was set up to be separate from who I am. And this is
Mm-hmm.
my legacy in the world. I'm leaving this to the world, the Soul Professional brand and network, right?
And how would you, since you're saying that, like, what is it that you want to see left as your legacy?
Yeah. So we're a business incubator, right? And it's all about the mission is to help other people bring their gifts to the world, right? No matter what that gift looks like. I believe that we all are so unique, but we hide in the structure that we've been taught, right? And it's teaching people like you be you and let's make a business from that. Right. If you want to work 2 days a week, you do that. If you want to be a psychic and a strategic advisor, you do that. Like you can blend these worlds, and I've been helping people blend those worlds for a long time, right? Teaching them how to build
Mm-hmm.
these businesses and being a thought leader. And I'm hired individually by startups to think
Mm-hmm.
through out of the box ideas. But I feel like so
Mm-hmm.
many people have been taught like this is the way it's done. And my whole vision for this is no, it's not. Right? A soul
Yep.
professional, he says, lives in a higher vibration, has an alternative approach to business, and is here to help repair the world. Right? How I know.
Yeah.
However that looks, right? So my job is to get the message out there and just let people know it's possible. And what we're
Yeah.
doing now is we're attracting what I'm calling the seekers. They're not really sure what their next step is, right?
Mm.
They're kind of had that aha, or they dipped their toe in, or they took their first yoga class or their first meditation and they're like, wow, I think there's something here. Or I've been doing this all my life, but I think I'm meant for something bigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm meant for bigger things in this world. And that's what we're all about. If it doesn't make your heart sing, you're not in coherence. Let's get you there. Right. And
Yeah.
I think that's the new part of it is, does this
Yeah.
feel good to me? Can I do this the rest of my life? Because passion and authenticity are some of the highest vibrations we can be in. But if you get to be there every single day of your life, because it's just your truth, that's where we want to be. That's where I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I
Thank
want to
you.
leave to the world. Like, this is the new way. This is
Yeah.
the new. And I also believe that corporations and the way we've done business, like being an employee for people, for corporations, that's leaving. That is leaving.
Mm. Mm.
And I do believe that it's going to be all of us being micro entrepreneurs in our world, all being us. We are our
Mm-hmm.
brand. We are our companies, right? And we will be
Yeah.
hired as fractionals and contract people all over the world, and no longer
Mm-hmm.
being employees. Right? Our service
I
is
love
our
that.
service. And I believe that that is the future. And it's going to be a blurring of borders, and we'll be working through time zones. And that is the future. And I just want to hold that space. And that's what we call a soul professional. Those are the people in the world. And now, we're about 14,000 people under the
Mm.
brand that are doing really cool stuff. And it's just about building the ecosystem. So we're employing each other and getting to
Mm-hmm.
know each other and building relationships and buying from each other. And
Yeah.
that's what I want to leave to the world.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like you just infused more of that into every cell of my being. We have related missions in the
Mm-hmm.
world, and the place to untame myself that has been like, come on, let's untame here, has been exactly what you're talking about, where all of the shoulds and this is how you run a business and all of those kinds of things have been, it's like the muscle that's the weakest. Like when I'm working
Yeah.
out, these muscles are my weakest. You put me on a stage or you put me in front of a client or a group of people
Yeah.
that I'm working with, and I'm very untamed. It's also what I help other people. It's one of the
Yeah.
places I help other people
Yeah.
to be untamed. I'm an untamed leader, actor, speaker, coach, and partially because I'm such a verbal processor,
Mm-hmm.
the business that being an untamed business owner has been this is like the last frontier of this round. So when you're talking and saying like whatever it is, two things that don't seem to make sense, putting them together, they do.
Yep.
There is a way, and there's a way to do it your way. And I'm in the shift of doing that, and I can see and feel the potential. And my offers are finally organized around because I change a lot. So my offers may change again because something else becomes resonant or needed in the world or something like that. And this feels like one of the times, maybe in the beginning, I had some stuff that was pure and aligned because I didn't know any better 18 years ago. So it's like before you get all scared and all the shoulds start coming in. And now I'm like, but I'm choosing what's aligned.
Yeah.
I'm choosing what I love to do and how that meets where people are and how I can serve. And I feel like, neither one of us like cookie cutter things. We don't like templates. We can see that the old ways of things, leadership in particular, leadership and speaking that we were taught to do, and like all of the big programs out there that teach people those things were formed for a different era, a very, very different era, like
absolutely
the 50s and, different waves of the industrial era where people needed to look the same, act the same, talk the same, wear the same outfits, say the same things to teach people to make cars.
Yeah.
That were all the same. I mean, it's very important that the car parts be exactly the same from one Toyota to the next one.
Exactly.
We have factories still. We're still making cars. And the vast majority of what people are doing, we're way beyond that. And like you're mentioning, we're about to go into something even more different.
Absolutely.
So it's past time to change how we show up as leaders.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was a MBA professor and not too long ago, and I taught, what was it called? Advanced Global Strategy. I think that was it. And, we were teaching the same stuff I learned in the 90s when I got my MBA. And I was like, oh my goodness. It was like, this is not, I mean, the case studies might have gotten a little better, but not that much. Like, I was like, we are still teaching people like they're going to be CEOs of big corporations. We are still teaching people to work for others, right? Like, this was not the world we're going in. And that's how I ended up opening up the Soul Professional Business School, because I was like, I want to teach for today. And I don't think people are really going to go get all these advanced degrees anymore. Like, I don't think you really need an MBA. Like, when I got it, no one had it. Today, they're like triplets. It's not the same. I don't think it's the same degree either. And it made a big difference in my life having one. But I don't know if today it matters as much.
Yeah, there was even a phase
changing.
Yeah, education is changing, and there was a phase here in the Silicon Valley. Oh, I don't know, somewhere between it couldn't be 5 years ago. It's got to be more like 10 years ago, where I was hearing that companies were actually more interested in someone with an MFA, a Master of Fine Arts, than an MBA.
I see that a lot.
Because they knew they were creative, that they have a degree in saying they can create things.
Yeah.
That's not always true.
I agree.
Well, MFAs, for the most part, you've created something. You did some kind of a master's project where you created a thing. You may also have written about the thing that you created, depending on the program. I'm not sure if that's exactly where we still are anymore. I'm not sure if anyone is running out to hire the MFAs, because the world caught up and the world is catching up and learning to be more creative.
Well, also look at our big creative companies like Google and Meta. They don't even require degrees anymore, not even college degrees, because they've learned that people, the creatives of the world actually don't like structured education, right?
Yeah.
And it's actually, I believe that education at this point, and I'm one with a lot of degrees. I went and did it,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Mm-hmm.
believe today it actually stops your thinking,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's not allowing you to be you. It's not branding you. It's not
Yeah.
saying how you're different. If you look at like all the people that have MBAs or law degrees or medical degrees, they all went through the same structured program, and few
Yeah.
are taught to go out on their own.
Yeah.
Right. It's always, we're going to work for, a big insurance company or a big company of some type or a big law firm and become a partner. It's not go out on your own. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
world is changing. So we all are going to go out on our own. So we are so individualized, and that is our differentiator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You also made me think of a moment in school. I mean, I think I got straight A's in high school and for the most part, and thought I was doing it from my left brain the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And later in life, when I was in coaching programs and we were talking about how I was coaching, like how was I doing what I did?
Yeah.
I hear people when they talk, like things that are important to them sound like the oral equivalent of a neon sign to me.
Yeah.
I sort of knew that, and I was a TA as a grad student for like a theater appreciation class with,
Okay.
I don't know, 10 different instructors.
Yeah.
And they all gave me different amounts of information to prepare people for the test. And
Okay.
I realized, oh, I'm hearing in their, I've been, for my whole life, I've been hearing in people's voices what's on the test. So it's like having an automatic cheat sheet because
Okay.
you can just hear, even when they hadn't made up the questions yet. I could
Okay.
tell what was important to them as they were like sitting there doing a
Yeah.
fireside chat where they just sort of rambled on for
Yeah.
45 minutes and called it a lecture. I could still pull out notes
Yep.
and tell what was on the test. And when I went to coaching school and the lead coach asked me how I knew to pull at a certain thread in the coaching that was happening, I went, "You're kidding, right?" Her voice sounded completely different. And everyone else in the room was like, "Nope." And then, brilliant leader that she was, doing what we feel is some of what's missing from education,
Yeah.
is she would ask each person when they had a really great coaching thing. It was like she was saying, how does your intuition work?
Yeah.
Let's articulate it and or hold a mirror up to it so that you know that you work differently from how Lori works. But both of you coached people to something amazing. So trust how you work and follow that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That is so good. So
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And it helps us find how we're different, right? Because I don't really believe that there's competition in the world because we're different,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm always like, well, if someone resonates with me, they probably don't resonate with someone else. So the
Yeah.
right ones come to me. And I always say, well, I'll work with the hell yeses because I want you to be really sure. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't force close or do anything like that because I was like, you're not gonna, you're just not gonna make it if you don't choose me, and I'm not gonna prove myself, right? To
Yeah.
convince, or I should say, convince you, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're convinced, there's enough free stuff out there, you'll come over,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. Very different from ego-driven 22-year-old.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I am not here to prove anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's very different. In my 20s, especially as a woman, I had to, and I was in a lot of male dominated spaces. I had to, but that's also
Mm-hmm.
what we were taught, right?
Yeah.
I had to be different. I had to be better. My numbers had to be more. It was constant all the time. But
Yeah.
today, not so much.
Yeah. if people are feeling like, I choose her, they'll have it in the show notes. And can you verbally give them a place to go
Yes.
find you if they're driving
You
a
can
car?
find out about me and my work at soul, SOUL, professional.com. And all the great work we're doing. Our community is free, and what we give out in the world is free, from our soul circles, our healing circles, our master classes, our networking. It's all free in the world. And if you want to find me individually, it's Camille L. Miller, and you can find me on LinkedIn is where I hang out most of all. I'm on all the other ones too, but if you just Google my name, you'll find me.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank
all right.
you.
It is time to slide into the Pivo pivot.
Uh-oh.
Take a breath. Feel your feet on the ground. You got this. All right. Camille, what is your favorite word?
Oh, I hope it's soul. I use that one a lot. Right. There's probably some other ones. I feel like each year I have a favorite word. Like evolve is a big one that's spinning around this year.
Nice. What is your least favorite word?
Ooh. Can't.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
The first thing that came to my mind was actually a color, which was odd. It was the color purple. But then I started thinking, well, I see it in art. I see it in music. Like so many things, right? It's the space in between everything that turns me on. That's what turns on my creativity. Yeah.
Nice. What turns you off?
Structure. Yeah, I don't do well there.
What's your favorite cuss word?
It starts with an F.
That is the number one answer. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, I love the sound of water. And that can be rain. It can be waves. It can be like aerated water in a still pond. It can be a trickle. Just the sound of water, no matter how it happens. Absolutely love it.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, well, there's probably some typical ones like scratching of a board. I can't think. What's coming to my mind, like a car crash, like anything where someone's going to be hurt, or if you like something like that. That just makes my whole body chill because I usually can feel whatever's happening.
Yeah. What profession, other than ones you've already done in your life, would be fun to try?
This is funny. It was funny. I was taking a walk. This is going to be a longer answer. I was taking a walk today, and I'm not even close to my house, by the way. And it said like cook needed. And I'm like, I wonder if I could be a cook. Like, I would love to just do something that, all of my kids are in the theater, and I live in New Jersey, and Netflix and all Paramount, everyone's building right here. And I was like, I think I'm going to apply to be an extra just for the hell of it. My kids are like, seriously? And I'm like, you guys do it. How it could just be fun. Like things that just get me out of my comfort zone. Just doing something different. I could be a bartender if I was home at like 8 p.m. You want to hear my one of my kids is in theater, like is an actor, and she's doing a show right now. And I was like, and it's mostly known for senior citizens. They literally do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon shows because they had busloads. It's a dinner theater, busloads of people.
Wow.
And it's the funniest thing. And I was like, oh my God, do they need a bartender? I would love to be there, right? like in the middle of the afternoon, you're like, do you need a bee's knees? Do you need a whiskey sour? Like all the old drinks. And I was like, that would be so fun. And think of the conversations you can have with older people. And so I know that was awesome. Kind of, I think of doing other things all the time. If they could pay my mortgage, I would try so many things in the world, in the world. And working for someone else. I haven't done that in a long time.
What job would you not like to try?
Anything physical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Wouldn't be a farmer. That's hard work.
Mm-hmm. Camille, what do you hope people say about you on your 100th birthday?
Oh, she was an inspiration. Or I loved her energy. Well, hopefully I'll still be alive and it's not bad. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I love your energy and you're absolutely an inspiration to me. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me here on the show.
Absolutely.
And I am remembering to do this for 2 seasons in a row now. If you loved this episode, or you laughed, or you cried, or snotted out your nose a little bit, or something like that, please tell everyone you know. Please like it, rate it, review it, share it with a friend, all the things, so that we can both spread our messages and our missions in the world. And I will see you back here next time.